We're using food to cope. We're using food to escape. Sugar tastes so good, not just because it tastes good, but because it is interacting with our reward system, and it's giving us that moment away from everything, giving us a moment from the stressful day, family, conflict, people pleasing, whatever it is that we are feeling uncomfortable with. Food will often make us feel comfortable temporarily. But what if we could get to the root cause of our body that is so wired up and looking for that food? What if we could get down inside deeper to the nervous system and calm it down so that at least you have a fighting chance of being mindful and present and not necessarily turning to the food to escape? I'm your host, Kim Hines, and welcome to the Emotional Eats podcast. I'm on a mission to show you that what you consume, not just the food, affects your entire life. Midlife is different. Let's dig into the real reasons why you eat when you're not hungry and why you're not feeling well. My guests and I are going to give you doable solutions and help you let go of perfectionism, food rules, and stress to make changes that will last a lifetime. If you're ready to ditch old school diet culture and nourish your entire life, this is the show for you. Welcome to episode 61 of the Emotional Eats podcast. In this episode, I share with you the connection between calming the nervous system to help you overcome the stress eating, overeating, and the emotional eating that may be happening when you're trying to escape or comfort yourself at the end of a day. And when we calm our nervous system, there's so many more benefits than just stopping the usage of food as a coping mechanism. It also helps us have better relationships, to connect more with others and ourselves, to slow down and be mindful, have more joy. But if we do want to eat the food, we also can connect and really enjoy and be in the moment with that food and taste it and savor it. So I give you 10 different ways to calm your nervous system. They're very basic. Some of them you've heard before, and you don't have to do all 10. So as you're listening to the episode, pick out the ones that really resonate with you. But the most important thing is, as you go through these 10 different ways to calm your system down, think about how you can do them consistently throughout the day. Find a way to remind yourself to do it consistently so that you don't need to do it in those emergency situations where you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling agitated, irritable, need that comfort, and then you want to reach for the food, the sugar, the reward. So let me know which ones you use on Instagram at Kim Hines Health. I look forward to hearing from you, and enjoy the show. Welcome to the Emotional Eats podcast. I want to give you today 10 ways to calm your nervous system. But why? Why, you ask, when stress eating, emotional eating, overeating is all about discipline, dieting, counting calories, right? No, we are so much more complex than that. But we really do want to boil it down to the things that we see online and the quick fixes. And what I'd love to share with you today is, when we are using food as a tool, we're using food to cope, we're using food to escape. Sugar tastes so good, not just because it tastes good, but because it is interacting with our reward system, and it's giving us that moment away from everything, giving us a moment from the stressful day, family, conflict, people pleasing, whatever it is that we are feeling uncomfortable with. Food will often make us feel comfortable temporarily. But what if we could get to the root cause of our body that is so wired up and looking for that food? What if we could get down inside deeper to the nervous system and calm it down so that at least you have a fighting chance of being mindful and present and not necessarily turning to the food to escape? Now, there's so many episodes in the last 60 episodes that you can turn back to that are more specific on eating late at night, stress eating, that will help you. But let's talk about now calming the nervous system, because this is just one more tool to help you. And I'm excited to share this with you because guess what? It doesn't just work for helping you not turn to food all the time, but to enjoy it when you really do want to eat it so that you're not just eating and it's gone and you're like, wow, I don't even remember eating that. But also, this could help you in your daily life because I don't know about you, but sometimes I speak without thinking. And it's because my nervous system's kind of on fire and it's lit up and I'm just ready to go in reaction mode. But if we could calm our nervous system, then we can also have better interactions with people, with ourselves, take care of ourselves better, maybe not have conflict, maybe sit back and listen better. So, this is another reason why I want to share this with you. So, just remember too that stress, it triggers that release of cortisol. And that's the hormone that can increase your appetite and your cravings for those sugary, fatty, salty foods. And when we learn to calm the nervous system, we can actually reduce that impact of that stress. And it can prevent us from going straight for that food to compensate. So I'm going to share these 10 with you. And they're not crazy things, they're just easy things. But if you write these down and think about the ones that will work for you and do them consistently, you may have a calmer day in general. So I want to help you have a calm, joyful, mindful, be in the moment type of day. So the first thing I always talk about is tapping because I love tapping. Tapping is emotional freedom technique. And if you are at all interested in learning more about that, just send me a direct message on Instagram at Kim Hines Help. I do a free 30-minute consultation and I would love to teach you how to tap and show you how effective it can be. We can work on whatever's going on right now in your life that you need to release that tension, calm your nervous system, release the stress. Tapping uses the acupressure points, and I use the ones on the face, top of the head, and the collarbone. And again, look that up on Google too, just so you have an idea. But I am more than happy to spend some time with you and go over that because tapping really does release and calm the nervous system. And what I find it gives me so much clarity because who doesn't want clarity when you're getting ready to dig into some chocolate? Have a little clarity. And that clarity could say, all right, you don't really need this because you were just a little bit stressed out. You needed to see things a little more clearly. Or clarity could be, hey, I really want some chocolate, but now I'm going to slow down. I'll eat less and I'll actually taste it and enjoy it. So, number 2 is breathing. And there's so many different ways you can breathe, as you know. There's so many different exercises. And I've talked about square breathing before because I think that square breathing is just very easy. You're making a square with your finger. So if you're going up the square on one side, you're breathing in for 4 counts. And if you are going across the square on the top, you're holding for 4 counts. You're going down the other side of the square and you are exhaling. And then when you're going across the bottom of the square, this is all visual, you are holding again. So we're breathing in, holding for 4, breathing out, holding for 4. And I recommend doing that 10 times. And that really does help. Our breath is connected to everything in our body. And think about when you breathe shallowly, when we are having such a hard time breathing and we're breathing rapidly and shallowly, we do not bring anything into the body. Our brain can't take anything more in. Our body can't take any more. We're tense. But when we are breathing deeply, we are so much more open. Our heart rate is slowed down. We can listen. We can be in the moment. I know when I get nervous, my heart rate speeds up. I'm not breathing very well and my brain shuts down. And if your brain's shutting down, you're much more likely to grab food to feel better. But if you can take some deep breaths first, I also recommend, I just shared a video about this, but leaving your car before going into your house, if you're transitioning from work or school or something that happened during the day, and doing that square breathing before you leave the car. Some people call it box breathing, by the way. So if you want to look that up, You might find it under square or box breathing. There are many other ways to do that, by the way, but that to me is just the easiest, quickest way for me to do it right away, especially if I feel like I want to run into the house and open the blue corn chips. So another technique, and I find this one to be really interesting, and you can do it either way. It's from the top of your head to your toes or from your toes to the top of your head. Some people call it progressive muscle relaxation, and you can tighten the toes and release, tighten the legs and release, tighten the midsection and release, tighten your arms and hands and release, tighten your face and neck and shoulder muscles and release. And sometimes that release, tightening and releasing, brings everything down. You're really feeling the difference between the tensing and the relaxing of the muscle groups. But I'm going to take this to a different place also. Another thing that you can do is just a full body scan while you're breathing, going from the top of your head, imagining warm water running over your head and relaxing every muscle in your face and neck and moving down your body, bringing those shoulders down, relaxing your arms and your legs and your calves and shins and your feet and feeling supported. When you're sitting, you are feeling supported, and think of that literally and figuratively. You are supported and grounded. Your feet are on the ground and just relaxing one step at a time. When I do any of these exercises with my clients, we go much slower, and I have a much more visual and picturesque way of sharing that. But if there's a way that you can do it, or look for some guided meditation type exercises where you're scanning your body or doing the tense and relaxation, that's really helpful. So that is my third one. After tapping and breathing, actually physically engaging those muscles in some way or relaxing those muscles, whatever works for you. So remember, my clients will laugh, the ones that are listening, because I always say, use it or lose it. I'm giving you some information, and what works for you in your life is what is going to be the most consistent for you. So if you're not that person that can do the tensing and relaxing, for example, then move on to another technique that works for you. As you know, tapping works for me all the time, so I often do the tapping. So let's talk about meditation. Meditation is really challenging for people. That's number 4 on the list. And I'm going to share with you meditation in a different way. Meditation you can do if it's a challenge for you to sit down and meditate, or you don't get it, or it doesn't make sense to you. There's so many beautiful apps out there that can give you guided meditation, whether it's Headspace or Calm. I use Brain FM and do unguided, but the beats that they play and the music they play tend to help me pull into a meditation. So if meditation is not something that you're able to do even with one of the apps, maybe you can consider a visualization. So your mind and body are going a little crazy. Your nervous system is a little bit off the chain. When you sit and visualize warmth running through your body, you visualize giving love to others, you visualize what you want to be happening. Sometimes that is a form of meditation that can help you bring the nervous system down. So again, this is what works for you. If meditation is not something that's easy for you to accomplish, or even sitting down and doing visualizations. And by the way, there's many, many, many visualization videos online, but that is why I do tapping. I can do meditation after I do tapping. I have to calm my nervous system down, believe it or not, before I do meditation. So I'm very jealous of people who can sit and actively meditate on a daily basis. But I will tell you, anything that you choose to do, if you do it every day, you will get better at it, and you'll reap the benefits more and more and more. So moving on to number 5, I feel like my clients have really benefited from some slow movement. We know that exercise, we know that there's so many benefits to building muscle, but there's a time and a place for that. And sometimes when you are feeling like your nervous system is really edgy and you're feeling a little agitated, that's not always the best place. Some people respond to that really well, but slower movement, yoga moves, and stretching and slower movements with the body, getting on the floor, taking a moment to honor your body in different slower movements will sometimes calm the nervous system. And what's really interesting is when you're focusing on your body, it takes away sometimes from the brain activity that might be having the chatter and the loop. So all of these techniques, we are not trying to get away from what's going on, but we're trying to bring everything down so we can understand it and feel more clear and feel more calm. And it's not really escaping it, because whatever you're dealing with is always going to come back. It's how you do it and then how your body's reacting. So remember, as we are going through, we're halfway through the stretching and the movement. What this is all about is so that we're not turning to food. And you're thinking, well, if I'm going to turn to food, how is stretching going to help me? But again, stretching, when we're doing stretching or yoga or movement every day and doing it consistently, we're honoring our body. We may be able to not have so many spikes in this nervous system set up if we are consistently doing things for our body for that self-care. So these are also, you can consider all of these self-care in a way. I want you to be doing joyous, fun things for self-care, but really this version of self-care is to consistently take care of yourself, your emotions, your nervous system, and your mind, so that food is not the place that you go just for escape, just to be mindless, just to check out. We want to enjoy food for food. So number 6 is nature walks. And getting outside and walking is so important. And I'm not talking about, hey, I got to get my steps in today. I'm talking about just get outside and move. That movement and having to use your legs, having to use your eyes, your hands are swinging. There's such a calming effect. And it's very hard to have a hard, chattery, looping conversation in your head when you're walking and seeing birds and trees and sunshine. And getting out and walking, as we know, is so good for all the other things. Just the sidebar to this is lowering blood sugar and reducing anxiety and depression temporarily. And digestive issues tend to go away when we're walking. But walking is also calming the nervous system. And there's this movement with your eyes that plays into it. And we have a kind of a bilateral brain situation when we're walking, and it really helps us process. So walking is number 6. Number 7 is listening to calming music. Something I noticed about me that I cannot believe. I just stopped listening to music at some point. I listen to podcasts. I'm constantly listening to fitness, nutrition, menopause, and emotional eating information. But I somehow gave up music, and my son started sending me Spotify playlists, and I love them. And I just listen to music sometimes now. We are so in a world where we have to have so much information all the time. We have to see who's texting us. We have to read our email. We have to check Instagram. There are so many news events that we're checking in on. We're even checking in on, Hollywood gossip. There's so much information coming into our brains. And sometimes just listening to music is very calming. And I have mentioned more than once on the podcast that there's even a particular type of music I use for focus, relaxation, and chilling sometimes, and that is Brain FM. I have no affiliation with them. I'm not trying to sell you on it other than the fact that it helps me relax. So sometimes I use Brain FM to get started. It has beats that are at a certain, I'm not even sure what you would call that. It reminds me of when I was in the band. I was a band geek in high school. The metronome. It's just got certain beats at a certain time with certain music that really can help your brain waves, and it helps calm the nervous system. So again, why are we talking about this? Because we want to consistently throughout the day be more mindful and present, calm the nervous system so that we're not reaching for food or alcohol to help ourselves calm down and escape the day. So, music is also a wonderful thing just to have on in the background for memories. We get sparked sometimes in happy ways, maybe even in sad ways. There's memories attached to all music. But I think about the 80s, and I can't, that's not calming music, by the way, but I'm laughing because I will hear songs from the 80s and it will make me laugh. It was a funny time in my life, clothes wise, friends. It just was a funny time. So music can be very, very therapeutic. Number 8 is aromatherapy. So there are certain scents that can help calm us down while we're going through some of these other techniques, whether it's breathing or tapping. And you've heard this before, but I'm going to remind you, lavender, chamomile, some of these feel so good, and you breathe them in and they have this calming effect. There are so many other oils that you can take advantage of, but the two scents that I love for really calming down are lavender and chamomile. And I am going to share, even though these are more energy giving scents for me, peppermint, citrus, especially grapefruit, sometimes smelling those will calm my nervous system also. Number 9 is journaling. I feel like I'm a terrible journaler. So it's funny that I have this on the list. But when I sit down and I list all the good things that happened for the day, and not just gratitude. I know we're really in a push, like in a morning routine, to list gratitude. And I think a morning routine can be really stressful if you're feeling like you have to do all those things. I don't think that's necessarily great for the nervous system. If it makes you happy to fit in all 7 things, that's great. But if you only can do 3 and they're very calming to give you peace, then fit those in. I have clients who love to journal. They just list out everything that's going on in their day. They share, and when they free write, they find that they are calming their system. They are also providing themselves some clarity on subjects. But when you write down the good things that are happening in your life, you see the abundance that you have. And a calm nervous system loves an abundant life. Our nervous system sometimes is a little bit feeling a little bit rougher when we don't feel abundant, when we feel like we have maybe modes of scarcity in them. Number 10 is laughter. So sometimes I will ask Mike to put on a show that is not really dramatic or is full of too much suspense, because that will make me feel nervous, edgy. It's hard to sleep. It's on my brain. Sometimes I dream about it. So we've been watching. I don't know if anybody else has seen this, American Rust, Broken Justice, something to that effect. And it's a great show, but it has so much going on. And it's suspenseful. And I have this personality where if somebody's going to get hurt or get in trouble, I have to leave the room. Like, I know it's going to happen and I have to leave the room. So watching things that are funny, that, comedy, even if it's super silly comedy, I don't love getting on the phone at all for calming the nervous system, but sometimes I'll watch funny videos with kids or with animals, really funny things that people put out there that are very innocent and very funny. But talking to someone and laughing is literally the best way to bring down your nervous system. If you can laugh at yourself, even better. I'm going to add a bonus one in. I gave you 10, but one of the things that I find most important is having communication support and connection with other people. We came out of a time where there was so much just interaction on the computer and on the phone that I think, got really used to that. And we can hide behind the screens a lot more, especially if we're not feeling good. And bringing down the nervous system can be done really easily when you're with friends and you're connecting and you can tell what's going on. I have a couple girlfriends in my life that you know who you are, and I can tell them anything. And that immediately brings my nervous system down because I get the support and the whether they believe in me or not, or they agree with me or not, they believe in me. But if they agree with me or not, and they say, I hear you, I understand, I get it, I hear where you're coming from. Those are the things that bring down my nervous system. So maybe you can do that for someone else. In addition to taking these thoughts for yourself, maybe you can do these things for yourself. So I'm hoping that incorporating these techniques into your daily routine, find a specific spot in your day when you can do it, and trying to keep a list of things around that when you're really feeling rough, turning to them before you are turning to food. A friend of mine said the other day, you're so much better at tapping than I am. And I'm really not. I do it all the time with clients, and I get the benefits even doing it with clients. And I forget to do it on myself sometimes, and I have to really practice. So I tap even when I don't feel like I have to, because it always gives me something positive. So that may be for you, the breathing or the stretching or the music, just incorporating this into your self-care every single day. And when you calm your nervous system, it really reduces the urge to overeat or to turn to food for comfort. And that was the whole point of sharing these with you. That seems to be some of the battle for my clients, that just feeling stressed out, just feeling like you are on edge and irritable and things are not good and you're not really always sure what it is. You don't have to know. You just start taking care of yourself in these different ways. You don't have to know exactly what's going on, but the clarity will come when you do take care of yourself. And just finding out what works best for you and making it a regular part of your life. So you don't have to do all 10. Let me just be really clear. That's a lot to try to fit into your day. But if you can find one or two that will help you out, that would be amazing. And you would just feel better in general. And I think it really, for me, when I incorporate these on a regular basis, I also slow down in my conversations. I'm really good at sticking my foot in my mouth. And sometimes I need to just slow down and think before I speak. So when I'm incorporating self-care and keeping myself calm and open and mindful, I can really listen to other people, because that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do for people. It's what we all want to do, is be there for other people, not just taking care of ourselves. We do that because our purpose in life is to love on and help other people. So I hope you got some tips to find more peace and balance today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you give me your thoughts and what you're working on, or if you would like to have a session, make sure you DM me at Kim Hines Health on Instagram. And just share with me what you're going through, and we can have that free 30-minute call and get you pointed in the right direction. So remember to nourish your entire life and give yourself grace today. Thanks for listening. That's it. Thank you so much for tuning into the Emotional Eats podcast, the podcast that's here to help you feel amazing, strong, energetic, and healthy holistically in your mind and your body. But my guest and I also want to help you build great habits to help you with long-term mental and physical health, so that you can lean into aging in a very positive and strong way. Check out my website, kimhines.com, and please come see me on Instagram at Kim Hines Health. That's where I leave tips for healthy life, healthy body, healthy relationship with food. And I also am there to encourage you, and I love to hear from you. So tag me and let me know what you like about the show and what you want to hear more about. Check out the show notes for all the details. Make sure to rate and review the podcast. And until our next time together, nourish your entire life and give yourself grace today.